The markets trade higher in a narrow range. US President Trump hints at imposing tariffs of 20 to 25% on India. Infra, banks and metal stocks see gains, while realty and auto are the big drags.
L&T reports an order book of over $6 trillion at the end of Q1, and revenue and profit growth, though margins don't see any notable improvement, the stock climbs.
Tata Motors is expected to buy a 27% stake in Italian CV maker Iveco from the Agnelli family in what promises to be a big acquisition for the group. After several years of consolidation, the stock slips on the M&A risk.
India's second depository in the two-player segment, NSDL, has today launched its IPO to raise 4,011 crores via sale of shares by existing investors, including IDBI and NSE. The pricing at a discount to peer CDSL is reflective of its financial metrics. Hello and welcome to Business Lunch live from the CNBC TV18 Motilal Oswal studio. I am Vamakshi Thoria. And joining me is Hormas Fatakia. Good afternoon to you, Hormas. So far, it's seeming like a good day for trade. The bulls are fighting back hard, and we might be, on course for maybe ending the second straight day in the green.
The bulls would definitely be hoping so for that. And as long as you are in the green, the bulls would not have any reason to complain, despite the fact that we are still struggling to cross that 24,900 mark on the upside. But there are enough and more movers. But since you were on the subject of IPOs, the two major ones that have opened for subscription today, NSDL being the first one and Sri Lotus Developers being the other one. We just heard from Sri Lotus a few hours ago. The Sri Lotus IPO, as we speak, has been fully subscribed within 3 hours of the first day of bidding. And NSDL is almost there too. 97% subscription so far for NSDL as well. So the IPO market remaining healthy. The markets on our own, the equity markets, continue to consolidate. But of course, there are plenty of stock-specific movers, Vamakshi. You're counting down to some big earnings today as well. Tomorrow promises to be an even bigger day, not just for us, but also for the global markets as well.
Tomorrow, especially for Sudarshan, right? A lot of auto companies reporting their numbers.
Indeed.
And in fact, just speaking about IPOs, look at the listing that happened today. We did see two companies have had stellar listings in today's trading session. They will also come up for you on the screens, and you'll just see how remarkable the IPO market has been. GNG Electronics is up almost 42%, and IndiCube Spaces is down almost 11%. When we talk about result reactions, we've seen a stellar set of numbers that have come through, especially from Bliss GVS Pharma. That stock for now is up almost 17%. New India Assurance is another counter that is doing exceptionally well. GE Vernova is one other counter, reported its numbers last evening. Almost it's a beat as far as expectations are concerned. And, the stock has been locked in the upper circuit of 5% since the get-go. But moving on then, another company that reported strong set of numbers is L&T. Net profit surged almost 30% to 3,617 crore rupees on strong revenue growth, which were higher than what the market was expecting. We now have Vivek joining us with the earnings fine print. Vivek?
Well, Larsen & Toubro, capital good infra, giant has actually gone ahead and surpassed what the street was anticipating, especially in terms of execution as well as the order inflows. And that's a very healthy start to the year as far as L&T is concerned. So robust order inflows, very strong execution. Consolidated order book now has crossed 6 lakh crore as far as L&T is concerned. Looking at the numbers themselves, revenues higher by 15.5%, EBITDA higher by 12.5%, margins the only blip in the overall picture at 9.9%, profitability higher by almost 30%. Now, when you're talking about the core EBITDA margin, remember the company had given a guidance in the range of 8.3 to 8.5. However, that came in at close to 7.6%. But the management has not changed the guidance, indicating that Q2 as well as H2 is expected to be much higher in terms of the core margin improvement that is expected to be seen. The order inflow was at 77,000 crore rupees in Q1, a 41% uptick on a year-on-year basis. Remember, the company has given an order inflow guidance uptick of just 10% for FY26, and analysts believe that there could be a slight uptick in the guidance in the coming quarters. Now, the other couple of important things, order prospect pipeline at 14.8 trillion rupees for the remainder of the year. And more importantly, remember, there have been reports indicating that the company is looking to divest one of its power assets, that is Nabha Power. The company yesterday informed us that given the right price, they were not averse to selling this particular asset.
Indeed, L&T, the outperformer of the day, 5% higher now on the stock, the top gainer on the Nifty in today's session, and what has been a very strong start to FY26. But moving on to some other stocks that are on the move, while L&T is the top gainer, Tata Motors is on the other side of the spectrum, is the top loser today, and talks have emerged on potential acquisition between Tata Motors and Iveco. Parikshit is joining in with more details on this. Parikshit, tell us, what does this news entail? It promises to be the first major acquisition by the Tata Group after almost a decade now.
Yes, and the acquisition is likely to be around $4.5 billion. That's what it's going to cost Tata Motors to acquire a controlling stake in European truck manufacturer Iveco. They will be buying a controlling stake from Italy's Agnelli family. That's what we're picking up. And there have been advanced talks over the last few weeks. And the Italian media is reporting that a final decision will be announced today by the boards of the two companies. What will this do for Tata Motors? Apart from a strong domestic market, this will give them access to Europe, North America and Latin America. 70% of Iveco's revenues come from Europe. So this will be a big gainer for Tata Motors, so to say. They will also get a manufacturing base in Europe. They would get access to future technologies. So in the long term, this could be a positive for Tata Motors. We believe that an announcement is imminent. The talks have been on. And this, of course, will be big for Tata Motors, especially the commercial vehicle business after the demerger.
Well, thanks so much for that, Parikshit. The shares of Tata Motors for now are down almost 3.2%, the top Nifty loser today. But moving on then, G&G Electronics had a very strong debut on the bourses, like I just pointed out a couple of minutes ago. Its shares listed at a 50% premium to its issue price, and post the listing, we spoke to Ajay Panchodi, who is the director at the firm, to understand their revenue mix and business outlook. Let's listen into that conversation.
Last year it was 75% international and India being 25%. We don't see a significant change going forward as well. We see that the absorption on both sides and overall markets on both sides will grow and lead to a continued proportion more or less similar. We will be debt free and that gives us a huge opportunity.
From one listing to another, G&G listed at a very hefty premium, but IndiCube listed at a discount, and it was an issue price of 237, listed at 216, now at 210. So still some losses coming in comparison to the issue price. We spoke to Rishi Das, who's the chairman, executive director and CEO for the company, on the road ahead. Listen to what he had to say.
I will also like to emphasize that we have almost 33% of the space that we will be occupying over the next 6 to 18 months, and that portfolio should allow us to have a lot of headroom for growth. And overall, I think we should see great performance coming forward. Yeah. If one were to look at year 23, we have paid income tax. Year 24, year 25, we have paid income tax. So we have been PAT positive all these years. Typically, so I think it's more, and that's what as per our roadshows also we have tried to explain.
Staying on with the primary market action, we spoke of listings and over to IPOs now, and it is NSDL. The IPO has almost been fully subscribed now. 99% is where it stands. And the nervous 90s is NSDL, Vamakshi. Tell us more about this issue, right? It's a direct comparison with CDSL on the financial front. And of course, it's a pure OFS, right? So how much are the existing shareholders making?
Well, absolutely not bad for day one, right? Day one of subscription for NSDL. NSDL is set to hit the markets. It's a 4,011 crore IPO, Hormaz, priced at 760 to 800 rupees per share. It's a pure offer for sale, meaning that no fresh funds will go to the company. Only existing shareholders will get the money. Now, at the upper price band, NSDL will command a market cap of around 16,000 crores with listing slated exclusively on the Bombay Stock Exchange. So let's decode the NSDL IPO. Now, NSDL was set up in 1996. It is India's very first securities depository and remains the largest. It oversees the highest number of issuers, active instruments, and total asset value under custody. Think of it as a bank, but for securities. Your stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and more, all safely held in demat form. Now, the business goes beyond the depository, and NSDL runs two wholly owned subsidiaries, NSDL Database Management, which delivers e-governance and tech solutions from SEC Online, Insurance Repository to digital onboarding, and NSDL Payments Bank, which offers digital banking, prepaid cards, merchant acquisition, and third-party product distribution. But NSDL doesn't operate in isolation. It's locked in a duopoly with CDSL. The differentiator, NSDL leans on institutions and unlisted companies, while CDSL thrives on India's booming retail wave. The numbers also tell the story. In FY25, NSDL reported revenue of 1,420 crore, growing at 18% CAGR since FY23. Yet the margins lagged 26.4%, with profits at 343 crores and ROE of 17.1%. CDSL, on the other hand, with a smaller 1,082 crore revenue base, is growing faster, has delivered 527 crores in net profit with a margin of 57.7% and a stellar ROE of 29.9%. And the valuations actually reflect this trade-off. At 47 times FY25 earnings, NSDL comes at a nearly 24% discount to CDSL 61 times. So who's actually cashing in? Legacy investors. IDBI Bank alone will take home 1,778 crores, NSE 1,440 crores, SBI 320 crores, HDFC Bank 161 crore, and Union Bank 40 crores. For some like IDBI and SBI, returns stretch up to almost 400 times. But don't mistake this for a total exit. Post-IPO, IDBI and NSE will each still hold around 15% stake, with SBI, HDFC Bank and Union Bank retaining meaningful stakes. So they're essentially booking gains, yet keeping skin firmly in the game. And to wrap it all up, NSDL is a story of steady growth, however, with leaner profitability, and that is reflected in its current valuation discount to CDSL. Hormaz.
Interesting developments there. Still at 99% is NSDL. So we'll of course keep you posted as to when. He's still looking for that elusive single, the field restrictions in place. So it will be interesting to see when the full subscription happens anytime from now. Of course, by the way, the Sri Lotus IPO though is fully subscribed. Take a short break. More on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Let us now bring you the latest updates from the India-US trade talks, which seems to have hit a roadblock. President Donald Trump has said that India may be hit with a tariff rate of between 20 to 25%, but he also cautioned that the final levy has not been finalized yet ahead of the 1st of August deadline. Here's what he had to say.
India is preparing to face higher U.S. tariffs between 20 and 25%. Is that what you're tracking, or what do you think the rate will be for India?
They are going to pay 25%.
Yeah, that India is preparing to face higher U.S. tariffs between 20 and 25%.
Yeah, I think so. Look, they're my friends, and he's my friend.
Is the deal with India finalized?
No, it's not.
Okay, so what rate are you expecting?
Well, we're going to see. But India's been a good friend, but India has charged basically more tariffs than almost any other country. You know that, right? Over the years. But now I'm in charge, and you just can't do that. I think the trade deals are working out very well, hopefully for everybody, but for the United States, they're very, very good.
Well, that was the President of the United States talking about the trade deal that US could potentially have with India. But moving on to the Federal Reserve then, the two-day Monetary Policy Committee meet ends today, and the Chairman Jerome Powell will announce the decision later tonight. CNBC's Steve Leisman joins us with the key expectations.
The Federal Reserve is expected to hold rates steady at its meeting this week en route to an expected September rate cut, and respondents to the CNBC Fed survey seeing a three-way tie in the race to replace Fed Chair Jay Powell. Here are the Fed expectations. 100% say no cut in July, but 27% think the Fed should cut. That reflects some agreement with the two Fed governors who many think might dissent at this meeting. 65% expecting the cut in September. The chance of recession falling to 31% from 38% in June and 53% in May, amid more clarity on the tariff impact, along with somewhat better GDP, now at 1.4%, up from 0.8% from the May low. Take a look now, the current rate outlook from the Fed, from respondents. 4.4 is the current, goes down by about 2 rate cuts in, this year, 2 more next year, showing the Fed is still remaining above the neutral 3.3% rate, even with a new Fed chair. But who that next Fed chair will be, well, that's anyone's guess. We have pretty much a 3-way tie here. Kevin Warsh at 24%, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent at 24%, Hassett at 22%, and then Fed Governor Waller at 14%. Bessent has said the president could pick a new Fed chair as soon as December. That would be just a couple months earlier than either former Fed chairs Bernanke or Yellen were nominated. The Powell's tenure or term ends in May.
Take a short break right here on Business Lunch. More news and updates continue on the other side.